Story 1. Am I the a-hole here for confronting my uncle on a $700 debt while he brags to his family about a surprise vacation to Maldives for his daughter as a Christmas present? Last September, my uncle Daniel, 43, came up to me, 22, looking all stressed and asked if I could have a sit-down with him as he needs a favor. He began to speak on how he was really on a rough financial spot, and he really had nowhere to turn to as he didn't have anyone to ask for a loan from, and I was the only one left available. Mind you, I'm not rich or anything of the sort. I just happened to have the amount he needed at the time. According to him, it was a serious situation that he couldn't approach or tell other guys in the family, and the issue needed to be addressed soon. Without better judgment, I lent him the cash after much insisting from him. We agreed on payment before December, and I didn't even ask for any interest on it. With lots of hugs and words, he took it and gave me his word on the paying it. Fast forward, and we are now at Christmas dinner at my grandma's house. And all that time, I didn't give him any reminders or a checkup. I assumed he was late or something, and he would let me know why at Christmas dinner because the larger family meets every year for that. He also didn't call or say anything to update on his situation, and I just had to trust all was well. Now, on a related side note for later, my cousin Aisha, 20, Daniel's daughter, recently underwent surgery a while back, as she really had it tough for the whole of last year, while she recovered from a traumatic back injury from an accident. Everyone was enjoying their meal, and suddenly my uncle stood up at the dinner table and called for attention for a speech. He began to speak on how his business took a really huge boost, and long story short, how he has just cashed in a large profit from some deals. He looked at Aisha across the table and took out some brochure with some resort-looking location and said it was a gift to her for her tough recovery from the incident. All I could see was Aisha visibly crazy excited. Someone asked what it was exactly, and Daniel said he was planning on taking Aisha and the rest of his family to the Maldives as a celebration on Aisha's accident recovery. Everyone was now happily cheering Aisha on her gift, as it seemed it was something she always wanted to experience. You can afford all that, but not repay my debt, which you haven't said anything on. The words just slipped out of my subconscious mind as I looked at him straight in the eye. His words were, "Why are you talking about that now of all places?" Now I was pissed, I reminded him, in front of everyone on the exact amount, and I told him the fact on how he wasn't even communicating on repaying it. The entire family was in shock with dead silence as my mom hurriedly changed the subject to avoid an escalation of the situation. Later on in the evening, my aunt, grandma, and some cousins began to lecture me on how I ruined Aisha's moment after her struggles and embarrassed my uncle in the process. They leave in a week and he still hasn't paid or mentioned anything on the debt. Am I the AI hole here for ruining the moment and asking for repayment? Comment A, not the a-hole. Never loan money to family because they're never going to pay you back crap. Your uncle sucks and you should feel free to talk crap to his face until he pays you back, which will be never. Yeah, never again, especially him. He still hasn't addressed anything. If he had said something, maybe I wouldn't have said anything at dinner. I see why he didn't go for help to any other person. He never intended to pay you back. That's why he wanted it secret. I am sorry, and now I see why he came all secretively. Thanks. Comment B, not the a-hole. This situation came about because of him and his choices. At worst, you're a justified a-hole. Stop assuming. Start being assertive. Become more vocal about expecting payment and issue a deadline. Tell your family you heard their concerns, but at present you need that money back. And this is your repayment for doing a good deed for a family member? Yeah, I'll be better at communicating. I see where I could have done better on my part. Thanks for that. Comment C. Nick, your grandma should have been on your side and told him how disappointed she was. Her grown-ass son borrowed money from you and did not repay it on time. Ha, crazy on that part. I would burst out laughing for sure in all seriousness. Comment D, not the a-hole. His a-holeness, especially in still not paying, that's a send the Venmo now moment, overrides everything else. I would say have some grace with your fam cause, yay? Not best timing on your part, but I think it's 100% understandable. I agree now, I was maybe bad with the timing. I should have controlled myself on that. Comment E, now you know exactly why nobody helped this man. For real. It's time to borrow the same amount from the people that lectured you and then just tell them he owes you so to just get it back from him. Make sure to guilt trip that you need the money for something important. Comment F, not the a-hole. You didn't ruin it by asking. He ruined it, but not paying you back. Aisha's moment was cooked, though. I may be messed up there. Story 2. Am I the AI hole for ruining my coworker's big reveal by guessing it right away? So I, 24 male, work in an office where we all get along pretty well. One of my coworkers, Amy, 30 female, is super into dramatic announcements. She once revealed she got a dog by bringing in balloons shaped like paw prints. She's fun, and we all humor her because, honestly, the office can get boring. Last week, Amy was bursting with excitement. She kept hinting she had huge news but wouldn't tell anyone until Friday during our team lunch. All week, she was dropping vague hints like, "It's something life-changing," and "You'll never guess." Naturally, this got everyone speculating. Was she engaged? Pregnant? Won the lottery? Bought a house? By Thursday, I was kind of over it. So when she made another big "I can't wait to tell you all" comment, I jokingly said, "What, are you pregnant or something?" "Well," she froze, looked at me and said, yes, that's my news." The room got super awkward. She looked upset, and a couple of our coworkers gave me the stink eye. I apologized right away, saying I was just guessing and didn't mean to ruin her moment. She brushed it off, but the vibe was weird for the rest of the day. Friday rolls around, and during the big lunch reveal, she goes, "As some of you may have already figured out, I'm pregnant." Everyone clapped, but I could tell she was still annoyed. Later, she told me I stole her thunder and that I should have just let her have her moment. I get it, but also, how was I supposed to know I'd guess right? Some of my coworkers agree with her and think I was rude. Others think it's not a big deal since it was just a lucky guess. Now I'm wondering, AITA for accidentally spoiling her big announcement? Edit. She had previously brought up the hopes of pregnancy, or else the comment would have never been made. Comment A. To be honest, if she wanted to surprise everyone, she should have cut to the chase a lot sooner. Pregnancy is one of the first things people guess when they state they have big news. Seems like her own fault, to be honest. If you're a woman between the ages of like 16 and 50, literally the first second you hint that something interesting is going on in your life, everyone you know starts asking you whether you're pregnant. 18-year-old me working at a KFC called in sick one morning, and the first question was, "Auntie Fifi, are you pregnant?" I wasn't, just genuinely sick. Comment B, not the a-hole. She stole her own thunder by dragging it out for days. Thankfully, you pulled the plug on it. Amy sounds like one of those annoying local newscasters. She really missed her calling. Stay tuned for this amazing news. Finally, at the end of the broadcast, it's just something mundane or mildly interesting. Cat rescued from tree. New baby elephant at the zoo. Poor Amy. Most people just like news to be told, not teased or tested. On the other hand, baby elephant rescued from a tree, I would totally tune in for. Wait till they announce that Amy is pregnant with a baby elephant. If Amy's elephant baby doesn't end up being rescued from a tree on the 5 o'clock news, I will be gravely disappointed. Comment C, not the a-hole. If you really want a surprise, you don't announce it for days to no end. When I told my team I was pregnant, it was at the end of some random team meeting. We were doing a round table of work-related or random stuff. I just mentioned it. To be honest, I was very excited. There was a good 5-second silence because it was just so random, LOL. It was really funny to see my colleagues get it. See, this is a good way to announce your pregnancy. Comment D. Every now and then I read a post like this that makes me so glad I'm retired. Your coworker sounds exhausting. Not the a-hole. Oh, to be retired, you're right, she is exhausting. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for telling my younger siblings being separated from them was the best thing for me? When I, 26 female, was 11, my younger siblings and I were taken from our parents and placed in foster care. At the time, my siblings were 4, 6, and 7. We were placed in different foster homes together for a year, but the damage done by our parents was too great. My siblings could only see me as mom and rejected anyone else doing anything for them. They would physically attack our foster parents if they stepped in to help them instead of me being the one to do it. I was growing more resentful by the day, and there were days where I locked myself in a room and didn't come out, not to eat or drink or anything. I was so overwhelmed. We were in individual therapy and family therapy, but during family therapy, they would sit on me and refuse to engage with the therapist or the toys we had in the room. It was suggested after a year that we needed a break. At first, it was only supposed to be 6 months. I'd be separated from them and placed somewhere else, but 6 months became 12. In that time, I bounced around some before settling in with a family. When my siblings and I met up again, it was in family therapy, and a good 6-month effort was put in, but they still exhibited the same behaviors, expecting me to mother them and refusing to let go or engage in the therapy. They'd lash out at everyone around once it was time for me to go home. My younger sister even broke my arm accidentally because she grabbed me so hard one day and refused to let me get free. And there was another period of no contact, and then we had phone contact only. We never got past that because they were still set in their mindset of they needed their mom back and not their sister. Plus, they had an extreme meltdown when they were told I had been adopted. There was no contact for years. Even when I turned 18, I decided to focus on bettering myself, healing and working toward my future than trying to have a relationship with my siblings again. Last year, they reached out to me after they all aged out of foster care. They wanted a relationship, and I told them we'd need family therapy, and they would need to participate before any relationship could happen. They were reluctant, but agreed. It's clear they still view me not as their sister, but as their mom. I have told them I'm their sister, not their mom, and the only relationship I will have with them is a sibling one. I did this with the help of the therapist, and still nothing changed. They did open up more than before, so I kept trying, but recently they have gone off on the fact we were separated and how cruel and disgusting it was to break a sibling group up. They said it never happens and they should be ashamed. They wanted my thoughts on it for a while, and I said mine were different at first, but they were getting very vitriolic about that. They asked how I could see it any differently and how I should have sued the state for separating us. Then I told them a couple of days ago that being separated from them was the best thing for me, that it allowed me to heal and grow and to have a small childhood for what was left. I told them I was sorry it was so rough for them, but I needed to not be weighed down by the expectation and demand that I be a parent when I was just a little girl. They hate me for what I said and told me I should never have voiced it out loud to them. Am I the a-hole? Comment A, not the a-hole. Sounds like your siblings need individual therapy that they are not seeking. It does not matter that they are your siblings. Do what is best for you. The problem is they don't engage in therapy like they need to. We all had individual therapy in the past. I still go. I need therapy for the family therapy we're doing. But if they don't work at it, there's really no progress to be made. Comment B. Your feelings are valid, and you were honest about your experience. It's heartbreaking that the separation was necessary, but it seems like it was crucial for your survival and healing. While your siblings have a right to their own pain, you also have a right to express yours and establish boundaries. You're not their parent, and it's okay to make that clear. Therapy is still the best place for these conversations, and continuing to insist on it is a wise choice. Not the a-hole. What you experienced was parentification trauma, and you were absolutely right to be honest about how the separation affected you. Your siblings are still stuck in an unhealthy dynamic and expecting you to shoulder responsibility that was never yours to begin with. You were a child who deserved to have a childhood. The system actually made the right call here. Shocking, I know. Their reaction shows they're still viewing you as their mom, rather than accepting the reality that you were all victims of a terrible situation. Don't let their emotional response make you question your truth. You needed that separation to heal, and that's completely valid. They need serious therapy to process their own trauma instead of trying to force you back into a parental role. Stick to your boundaries. Their healing isn't your responsibility. I had hoped after all this time they would see me as their sister and not their mom, but they have never grown from that. I guess because they never put the work into trying. I hate that for them too, because they are stuck at the ages we were taken in so many ways, and that's awful. And ultimately, the cause of all of this is our biological parents. Comment C, not the a-hole because you went through an incredibly difficult situation, and it's completely valid that you needed space to heal. You were forced to take on responsibilities no child should have to bear, and being separated was a way for you to protect your mental health. You weren't the one who put yourself in that situation, and you did what you had to in order to survive and grow. I can only imagine how hard it must be to balance empathy for your siblings while also protecting yourself. It's okay to put yourself first when you've been through that kind of trauma. You deserve peace and a chance to live your own life too. It's more difficult than a lot of people understand. There are some who will judge me and ask why I couldn't have worked on myself and been there for them. But being in that situation left no room for what I needed. It had to be all about them because they were so demanding of it and would literally raise hell until they could get what they wanted, which was me. I know our biological parents effed them up with that, putting me in charge and leaving a kid to be the only parent they knew. So I feel bad for them in that the only parent they remember is me. But at some point I know they need to come to the adult conclusion that I was just a little girl and could never be that for them. Comment D, not the a-hole. You didn't ask to be cast in the role of mom at 11. It's not a role any kid should have to play. Honesty can be painful, but it sounds like they needed to hear it. Healing doesn't happen in a guilt bubble. You deserve space to speak your truth. Story 4. Am I the a-hole for making my mom cry after telling her she can't control my life? I, 18 male, just finished high school and live with my mom, who's deeply controlling, religious, and conservative. She recently announced that she plans to send me to an Islamic boarding school for at least 5 years. That means no college, no job, no pursuing my goals. Just being stuck in a school that I don't want to attend. Here's the confusing part. My older brother is in college now. He started a bit later, so maybe she's trying to repeat that process with me. But honestly, I don't want to wait. I've been looking forward to working and going to college straight away. I want to start building my future now, not 5 years from now. The worst part is that I don't even believe anymore. I've kept this to myself for obvious reasons. So the idea of going to this school feels even more stifling and out of place for me. Today she told me it was final. She's taking me to this school whether I like it or not. That's when I snapped. I told her, no, it's my life and I'm the one who gets to decide. I'm not a little kid anymore, and you can't control me like this. She immediately started crying and saying stuff like, I've sacrificed everything for you, and this is how you repay me? I didn't know how to respond. On the one hand, I feel bad for upsetting her, but on the other, I feel like I have the right to decide my own future. Now I'm sitting here waiting to see what happens next. I'm torn between guilt and frustration. So am I the a-hole for standing up for myself, even if it made her cry? Or should I have handled this differently? Comment A. You've already picked up on the fact that your mom is controlling. So it shouldn't surprise you when I say, based on what you've mentioned, that your mom is most likely resorting to emotional blackmail to get you to do what she wants. Don't fall for it. You sound like you already have a decent idea of what you want to do with your life, or at least what the first steps to take to find that out are. Stay on that path and don't let anyone try to persuade you otherwise. And I also don't think you should feel bad for snapping at your mother. She's the one who tried to throw down the gauntlet by saying she was taking you to the boarding school whether you like it or not. If she's upset because you refused in a not-so-polite way, that's on her. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. All this to say, not the a-hole. Agree with this, and also if you are a woman, please be very careful. No when leaving may still be unacceptable to some ultra-conservative sectors, which while legally they can do nothing, that hasn't stopped others. Comment B. You're 18, so she can't make you do anything anymore. That's why she's using tears to manipulate you. Advice I give everyone. At the end of your life, you can't keep blaming your parents for your choices, mistakes, or missed opportunities. They won't acknowledge or take responsibility for any of it, and they don't have to. So either you do what you want and live with the consequences, or you live your life according to your parents' expectations and live with those consequences. But make no mistake, it's your life and your consequences. Good or bad, not the a-hole. Comment C, not the AI-hole, obviously. Her plan to keep you from an education is going to affect your future forever. You'll never get those 5 years back, where you'd learn and mature with your peers, where you can start building your future financial stability. where many people meet a spouse. She's being manipulative and selfish. Don't sacrifice your future to her anxiety and self-absorption. Comment D. To her, religion is that safety net that keeps her and you safe. To you, it is a story that you have read and do not feel the magic in the words. She is scared. You did not handle it badly. You cannot live your life for others and stay you. Of course she is crying. Something that she values in her core is not a value you share. That is scary. Be kind and be firm. You are still you, no monster. Her worries are not your worries. You believe in you. If you are in the US and it gets bad, you might consider joining the military. It is not the stuff of the movies. It is far closer to a 9-to-5 job with benefits and a safe place to live. I joined, saved a lot of money, and got a free college degree. No one ever shot at me. I fixed communication systems. To be so afraid of what your parents force upon you that you join the military for your own personal safety is something I've never had to experience, and it is horrific. You are strong and brave, and I have a deep sense of admiration for you. So your parents come here for freedom, whether to escape a war or whatever for freedom, yet some of them subject their kids to what they ran away from. At least that's what it looks like to me. These kids grew up in a free country with rights. Comment E, not the a-hole. Everything she sacrificed for you was her choice. She was legally, morally, and ethically responsible to take care of you for 18 years when she chose to have children. You don't owe her anything for that. What kind of boarding school is this? If it's not college, but you've graduated high school, what are they supposed to be teaching you? It's basically a school where young adults focus on Islamic studies, like memorizing the Quran, learning religious texts, and practicing strict Islamic principles. Think of it as a combination of intensive religious education and boarding school life. It's not academics like math or science. It's more about shaping you into a devout Muslim. Some families send kids there to deepen their faith or because they think it's the right path. Edit and mini update. To clear things up, yes, I live in the US. After reading the supportive comments, I've decided to move to another city and state where no one knows me. I have a little bit of money saved up, which I'll use. It's not much, but it helps. I can't rely on friends or family for help. Everyone is extremely conservative. I don't think I can trust them. And even my brother, who's in college, can't do much since he still lives with us. His campus is near our house and is under my mom's control in everything, from his hair to his daily life. Thanks to everyone for the advice and support. It's helped me decide on my next steps.